Hello there, and welcome to the Sleepy History Channel. Tonight, we are stepping back into a world that feels almost impossible. A world where the ground trembled beneath colossal footsteps, where armored giants browsed beneath towering forests, and where sharp-eyed hunters moved through ferns taller than houses. Dinosaurs ruled this planet for spans of time so vast that human history would barely register as a blink. Their story is written in stone beneath our feet. Their bones lie locked in cliffs and deserts. Their tracks are pressed into ancient riverbeds. Their story stretches across continents, across changing oceans and drifting lands, across beginnings and endings that shaped everything that followed. How did they rise so completely? How did they thrive for so long? And how did their age give way to ours? If you enjoy these gentle journeys, I invite you to like, subscribe, or share a thought below. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. But for now, simply settle in. Let your breathing slow and allow your shoulders to soften. Allow your eyes to grow heavy as we wander into deep time and explore a lost world that still echoes around us. Let's begin. Dinosaurs dominated Earth far longer than humans have existed at all. If you could compress the whole history of Earth into a single calendar year, humans would arrive in the final minutes of the final day. Dinosaurs would still get weeks. They first appeared more than 200 million years ago. Then they spread into forests, floodplains, and coastlines across a changing planet. They endured volcanic upheavals, shifting seas, and continents pulling apart. Whole groups rose, ruled, and disappeared long before the famous late giants ever evolved. That long reign matters because it gave nature time to experiment. Teeth became chisels, scissors, and crushing spikes. Bodies turned into towers, tanks, and sprinting blades. Their world was not a single scene. It was an epic with many chapters, written slowly enough for astonishing inventions to become ordinary. Birds are living dinosaurs, and they carry that legacy daily. The next time a pigeon struts by, you are watching a dinosaur body plan adapted for the modern world. Many of the details are ancient. Feathers are a dinosaur feature refined into flight suits and winter coats. Hollow bones and air sacs help birds breathe efficiently while keeping weight down. A wishbone, a three-toed foot, and a backward bending leg are all pieces of a heritage that began in small, agile hunters. Even the way birds sit on eggs and communicate with calls echoes behaviors seen in fossils and track sites. This connection turns prehistory into something present tense. Dinosaurs are not only museum skeletons. They are sparrows at your window and hawks on a lamppost. The past did not vanish. It changed shape, then kept singing. Some dinosaurs swallowed prey whole, leaving few chewing traces behind. That sounds shocking until you picture the kinds of meals some predators faced. Small animals can be slippery, fragile, and fast to lose to scavengers. Swallowing quickly can be the difference between eating and going hungry. A wide throat, a flexible jaw joint, and a head built more for gripping than slicing can all support that strategy. It also changes what we expect to find in the fossil record. If a predator does not chew much, it may leave fewer tooth marks on bones, and it may leave fewer scattered fragments at a feeding site. Instead, clues can show up inside the predator itself, as compacted remains in the chest or abdomen area. This kind of feeding is about speed and certainty. Bite, secure, swallow, move on. It turns hunting into a clean, efficient routine, and it reminds you that dinosaur diets were not always dramatic battles. Sometimes they were quick, decisive grabs. Some dinosaurs were chicken-sized hunters. They were quick, and deadly. Not every predator was a towering monster. Many were small enough to dart between tree trunks, rush through undergrowth, and vanish into shadows. With light frames and long legs, they could accelerate fast, then strike with precision. Their hands could grasp, and their jaws could snap shut on lizards, insects, and early mammals that tried to hide in leaf litter. Some had feathers that helped with warmth and display, and possibly with balance during sharp turns. Size gave them advantages the giants lacked. A small hunter can live on frequent, modest meals. It can slip into burrows or dense thickets where larger rivals cannot follow. These compact predators made the dinosaur world feel busy and dangerous at ground level, like a living maze of sudden motion. The biggest dinosaurs outweighed airplanes, yet walked on land. Imagine an animal so heavy that the ground would shudder when it shifted its weight, yet it still crossed plains under its own power. The largest long-necked giants reached lengths like a line of city buses, with bodies built around enormous muscles and strong pillar-like limbs. Their bones were not solid blocks. Many were threaded with air spaces that reduced weight without losing strength, like natural engineering. A long neck let a single animal feed across a wide arc of vegetation, then move on slowly without wasting energy. Their hearts and lungs had to support a body that seemed to challenge gravity itself. It is hard to picture until you stand beside a museum mount and realize the ribcage alone could fill a small room. Land has hosted true titans, and they were real animals with daily routines. Many dinosaurs grew fast, reaching adulthood in just years. Some dinosaurs did not take decades to mature the way large reptiles might today. Their bones suggest a faster pace, closer to the rapid growth seen in many birds and mammals. Under a microscope, certain fossils show dense tissue laid down quickly and growth lines that mark seasonal slowdowns. This means a hatchling could start small and still become a powerful adult, while predators were all around. Fast growth changes everything about survival. It shortens the vulnerable stage, and it helps a population recover after harsh seasons. It also hints at lively metabolisms, active foraging, and constant demands for food. Picture a juvenile plant eater eating almost all day, turning greenery into bone and muscle at remarkable speed. In a dinosaur world full of risk, growing up quickly was not a luxury. It was a strategy. One asteroid impact ended most dinosaurs, but not all dinosaurs. Near the end of the Cretaceous, a space rock slammed into what is now the region of the Yucatan. The blow released energy beyond comprehension, and it reshaped the planet's food web. Dust and soot rose high into the atmosphere, and sunlight was choked off. Plants struggled, then many collapsed. When the base of the food chain faltered, the shock rolled upward into every ecosystem. Oceans acidified. Wildfires raged across continents. In the rocks, a thin layer, rich in iridium, marks this boundary like a dark underline in Earth's diary. What makes the moment haunting is how sudden it seems in stone. A world of familiar giants ends, then a quieter chapter begins. Extinction was not a single instant. It was a cascade, and it changed who would inherit the future. Dinosaur footprints can preserve running, turning, and even slipping moments. Bones tell you what an animal was. Footprints can show you what it was doing. A track pressed into soft mud can record toe spread, claw marks, and the exact angle of a step. When a whole trail is preserved, you can measure stride length and infer speed. Some trackways show tight turns that suggest quick reactions, not slow wandering. Others show a stumble, where the foot gouged deeper and the next step landed wide, as if balance was regained. There are even sites where many individuals moved together, leaving parallel paths that suggest group travel. The magic is that these are not trophies. They are moments. A dinosaur walked across a wet shoreline. Then a layer of sediment sealed the print before it could erode. Millions of years later, that single step becomes a message, delivered intact. Some dinosaurs cared for nests, guarding eggs like modern birds. A nest is a promise, and for some dinosaurs, it was worth defending. Fossil sites preserve eggs arranged in rings or clusters, sometimes in repeated layers that hint at breeding grounds used again and again. In a few cases, adults were found positioned over nests in a posture that looks like brooding, with arms spread as if sheltering eggs beneath feathered bodies. Young skeletons found together can suggest nurseries, where hatchlings stayed near the nest rather than scattering immediately. This kind of care changes how you imagine dinosaur life. It turns them from solitary beasts into parents with schedules and risks. A guarding adult must choose when to eat, when to threaten intruders, and when to stay put through storms. It also suggests communication, because a colony of nests would be noisy and social. Prehistory can feel distant until you picture an ancient parent staying close through the night. Fossils show dinosaurs lived from deserts to near polar forests. Dinosaurs were not limited to one kind of landscape. Fossils and track sites place them in dune fields, river deltas, coastal plains, and high-latitude forests that experienced long winter darkness. In ancient deserts, wind-blown sands could bury carcasses quickly, then preserve bones in place. In wetter regions, rivers flooded and laid down mud that turned into rock, sealing in skeletons and tracks. At high latitudes, fossil wood and leaf impressions reveal forests that once grew where ice dominates today, because climate and continental positions were different. This widespread meant dinosaurs faced very different challenges. A desert animal must find water and avoid overheating. A forest dweller must navigate dense vegetation and seasonal shifts in light. Their success across such varied worlds helps explain their long reign. They were not one story. They were many solutions. Many dinosaurs wore feathers, not scales, even before true flight. Feathers did not begin as flying tools. They likely started as insulation, display, or both, helping smaller dinosaurs hold warmth and communicate. Some early feather coverings were simple filaments, more like soft fuzz than a wing. Later forms became branched and layered, capable of creating patterns and textures that could be seen from a distance. Fossils from fine-grained deposits preserve outlines of these coats with startling clarity, and they show feathers on arms, tails, and backs. This reshapes the old image of dinosaurs as purely scaly reptiles. It also deepens the drama of evolution. A feature can appear for one purpose, then be repurposed for another when conditions change. Warmth becomes ornament. Ornament becomes control surfaces. Control surfaces become flight. When you see a feather today, you are looking at an invention that began on the backs of dinosaurs that never left the ground. Tyrannosaurus rex had teeth shaped like railroad spikes for bone. Those teeth were not thin knives made for delicate slicing. They were thick, slightly curved, and built to survive impact, like tools meant to punch, wedge, and pry. When a bite landed, the force did not stop at the surface. It drove deep, cracking bone and crushing it into splinters that could be swallowed. That matters because bone is a nutrient vault, packed with fats and minerals that soft tissue does not always provide. Marks on fossil bones show deep gouges and shattered edges, and some of those bones were from animals that were already dead. That tells a story of a predator that did not waste a meal. It could turn a carcass into calories fast, then move on. In the late Cretaceous, that bite was a shortcut through armor, hide, and even time. Triceratops fought with horns that could pierce thick hide. Picture a face built like a battering ram, with horns positioned for forward thrusts and a bony shield flaring behind the skull. The horns were not decorations. They were weapons that could target flanks, ribs, and softer tissue, and they were backed by a skull built to take punishment. Some fossil skulls show injuries and healed damage, which hints at clashes that did not always end in death. A fight could be about territory, mates, or simply forcing a rival to back away. There is also the larger drama of defense, because this animal lived alongside huge predators. A charging plant eater with a low stance and sharp points changes the odds of an attack. The frill could protect the neck and provide anchor points for powerful muscles. In a landscape full of danger, that head was a warning sign you could not ignore. Stegosaurus carried tail spikes that were built for defense. At the back end of this animal was a weapon that did not need a roar. 4 long spikes sat on a flexible tail, and their placement turned a slow-moving herbivore into something that could strike behind itself with sudden force. Fossils show that those spikes were made of bone and covered in living tissue, which means a blow could do real damage. In fact, there are predator bones with puncture wounds that match the shape and spacing of those spikes. That is the kind of evidence that turns a guess into a scene. Imagine a hunter circling, looking for weakness, then getting too close. A tail swing lands, and the fight changes instantly. The plates along the back still spark debate, but the tail tells a clearer story. This was not helpless prey. It carried an argument at the end of its spine. Ankylosaurus swung a tail club like a living sledgehammer. This dinosaur was a walking fortress, low to the ground and covered in bony armor that made biting risky. Then there was the tail. At the end sat a heavy knob of bone, shaped for impact. The tail itself was stiffened so the club could swing with control, not flop like a rope. A strike aimed at a predator's legs could break bones, and a broken leg in the wild can be a death sentence. That is why this defense is so thrilling. It is not about scaring something away. It is about ending the chase. Even the head was built for survival, with a broad skull and protective plates that left little exposed. You can almost feel the tension in a standoff. A hunter hesitates, because one mistake could mean a shattered limb. In the Cretaceous world, being hard to kill was a powerful advantage. The Velociraptor likely hunted with teamwork, not just solo ambushes. It is tempting to imagine a lone shadow sprinting in for a dramatic leap, but clues from fossil sites suggest something more social may have happened at times. Multiple individuals found together can hint at groups, and modern predators show how cooperation can turn speed and sharp claws into a strategy. One animal distracts. Another cuts off escape. A third moves in when the prey stumbles. Even a small hunter becomes far more dangerous when timing is shared. This kind of behavior also changes the soundscape of the past. A group hunt involves calls, signals, and tension that builds as the circle tightens. The famous sickle claw was not just for show. It could grip, slash, or pin while jaws did the final work. Whether every hunt was cooperative is still debated, but the possibility is electric. It suggests minds that could coordinate, not just react. Allosaurus ruled earlier than Tyrannosaurus, in a different world. Long before the late Cretaceous icons, this predator was the headline hunter of the Jurassic. The world it knew had different coastlines, different plants, and different giants to chase. Its skull was built for quick, repeated strikes rather than one crushing bite, and its jaws opened wide like a trap. Instead of trying to pulverize bone, it may have relied on slashing and blood loss, then backing off while a wounded animal weakened. Fossil sites show it lived alongside massive, long-necked herbivores, and that sets the stage for high-risk hunts. Bringing down something far larger than you requires nerve, and it may require numbers. Some bone beds include multiple individuals, which raises the possibility of group behavior or shared feeding. What makes this fascinating is the reminder that prehistoric fame is layered. Apex predators changed over time, and each era had its own ruler. Spinosaurus was built for water, with a crocodile-like snout. This was not a typical land hunter. Its long jaws were narrow, lined with conical teeth that could grip slippery prey without snapping like blades. The nostrils sat farther back on the snout, which makes sense for an animal that might dip the front of its face into water while still breathing. There is also evidence that points toward a life spent along rivers and wetlands, where fish were abundant and competition on land could be avoided. Imagine a predator that patrols a shoreline like a living heron, then lunges with a quick sideways snap. Its body plan suggests it moved differently too, with features that have sparked ongoing debate about swimming and posture. That debate is part of the thrill because it shows science in motion. Each new bone has the power to shift the picture. What remains steady is the atmosphere. This dinosaur belonged to a watery world, where ambush could come from reeds and dark currents. Diplodocus used a whip-like tail that may have cracked loudly. At first glance, a long tail looks like a balance pole. Then you notice the shape. It narrows into a thin tip, and the joints suggest a wide range of motion. Some researchers have proposed that the tail could move fast enough to create a sharp crack, like a whip in open air. If that happened, the sound would have carried across a floodplain, a sudden report that could startle predators or signal to other members of a herd. Even without a crack, a fast-moving tail is a serious deterrent. It is hard to bite or can lash you from several meters away. This idea also changes how you imagine the daily life of a giant plant eater. It is not only about slow feeding. It includes communication, warning displays, and dramatic moments when a huge animal reminds the world it is not an easy target. Brachiosaurus reached treetops with front legs longer than hind legs. Most long-necked giants are pictured as level-backed, but this one stood differently. Its front limbs were taller, which tilted the body upward and gave the neck a natural launch point toward high branches. That posture let it feed where many other herbivores could not reach, stripping leaves from the upper canopy and changing the shape of the forest as it moved. Think of a living crane, but powered by muscle and lungs, step by step through sunlit clearings. Reaching higher is not only about food. It can also reduce competition because fewer animals can share that menu. This height would have made it visible from far away, a moving landmark that could guide smaller dinosaurs toward water or away from danger. The scale is hard to hold in the mind until you picture its head sweeping among treetops like a slow ship's bow. In that moment, the ancient world feels huge again. Apatosaurus had a massive neck, but a surprisingly small brain. A small brain does not mean a foolish animal. It means its intelligence may have been expressed in different ways. Instead of complex tricks, it likely relied on strong instincts, steady routines, and a body built to do one job very well. The neck allowed it to feed over a broad area without moving the whole body, which saves energy when you weigh many tons. The sense organs also mattered. It did not need a poet's mind. It needed awareness of herd movement, the location of water, and the approach of predators. Imagine a life measured in slow steps and constant eating, with the ground vibrating faintly from other giants nearby. A smaller brain also fits the idea of many simple decisions repeated perfectly, day after day, in a stable ecosystem. The wonder is that nature can build a creature so vast, then run it on a modest control center, like a ship guided by steady hands. Argentinosaurus may be the heaviest land animal ever discovered. Finding this giant is like finding a few scattered bricks and realizing they once belonged to a cathedral. Much of what we know comes from enormous bones that dwarf a human torso, and even those are only part of the skeleton. Yet those pieces are enough to show an animal built on a scale that pushes the limits of land life. Its limbs had to be like columns, and its body had to distribute weight with careful balance. Picture it feeding in slow arcs, spending hours turning leaves into muscle and bone. A creature like this would reshape its habitat simply by moving through it. Paths would open. Branches would snap. Smaller animals would follow the disturbance like a traveling weather system. Every new discovery in the same rock layers is thrilling because it can sharpen the outline of an animal that still feels almost too large to be true. Patagotitum fossils reveal multiple giants preserved in one ancient site. Sometimes paleontology gets a single bone and a long mystery. This site offered something rarer. Several enormous individuals were found together, like a snapshot of a herd caught in one tragic chapter. When multiple bodies are preserved in the same place, it gives scientists a chance to compare ages, sizes, and growth patterns without guessing across continents. It also raises a haunting question about what happened. A flood can trap animals in mud. A drought can pull them toward shrinking water until the ground turns lethal. A poisoned pond can end a whole gathering. Whatever the cause, the result is a stone archive of lives that overlapped in real time. It also lets museums mount a more confident picture because bones from different individuals can fill in missing parts. You are not only meeting one titan, you are meeting a whole community of them. Giganotosaurus rivaled Tyrannosaurus in size on a separate continent. This predator shows that the title of top hunter did not belong to a single place. In what is now Argentina, a massive meat-eater evolved with its own style and its own prey. It lived among enormous long-necked herbivores, and that changes what it means to be dangerous. A hunter in that world faces walls of muscle and tails that can smash. Its skull was long and built for tearing, and its teeth were like blades designed to open wounds quickly. Instead of relying on one crushing bite, it may have depended on repeated strikes and persistence, which would make a hunt feel like a grim chase seen across open ground. The most mind-bending part is the geography. While North America had its late kings, South America had its own, separated by oceans and time, as if Earth ran parallel experiments in fearsome design. Carnotaurus had tiny arms and a skull built for quick strikes. This animal looks like it was designed for speed and surprise. Its forelimbs were so reduced that they seem almost symbolic, yet the rest of the body tells a sharper story. The head was deep and powerful, and it carried horn cores above the eyes that give it a fierce silhouette. Its neck and torso were built for rapid motion, and its legs suggest a runner that could close distance fast. Imagine it as a living spear throw, rushing in, landing a bite, then pulling away before prey can respond. Skin impressions add another twist because they hint at a textured hide rather than a feather coat. That changes the sound of the scene in your mind. This is not a fluffy bird-like hunter. It is a sleek, tough-skinned sprinter. In its ecosystem, hesitation could be costly, because the attack might already be over. Therizinosaurus carried scythe-like claws on the plant-eater body. At first glance, it feels like a contradiction. Here is an animal that likely ate plants, yet it carried claws longer than many kitchen knives. Those claws were not built for chasing prey. They were built for reach. They could hook branches, pull foliage closer, and strip leaves in a steady rhythm. They also offered protection, because few predators want to test a swing from arms like that. Add in the tall stance and the strange proportions, and you get a creature that seems invented rather than evolved. Yet it was real, walking through Cretaceous landscapes with a silhouette unlike any other. Its story is a reminder that danger is not always about teeth. Sometimes it is about tools. A plant eater can be armed in ways that make it untouchable. The claws could turn a feeding moment into a warning, and a warning into a serious injury. Parasaurolophus had a long head crest that could amplify calls. This dinosaur carried what looks like a natural instrument on its skull. The crest formed a long tube, and inside it were passages connected to the nasal system. That design suggests the animal could produce deep, resonant sounds that traveled across distance. Imagine the misty dawn on a floodplain. A herd is spread out between trees and water. A low call rolls through the air, and others answer not with words, but with tones that carry direction, identity, and mood. The crest also had a visual role, because shape and size can signal age and status. That means communication happened in two layers at once: sound for the unseen, shape for the nearby. When you picture these animals together, they stop being silent museum mounts. They become a living chorus. The landscape gains voices, and those voices may have been the glue that held groups together through danger and travel. Cretaceous wore a helmet crest, likely used for display. Some dinosaurs seem built to be noticed, and this one is a perfect example. Its crest rises like a helmet, and the exact outline varies between individuals. That variation is a clue, because nature often changes display features with age, sex, or social role. In a crowded herd, a bold head shape helps animals recognize one another quickly. It can also turn courtship into a kind of moving pageant. Picture a group gathering near water. Heads lift. Crests catch the light. Postures shift as rivals measure each other without a fight. Even if the crest also played a role in sound, its visual impact alone would matter. Display is not vanity. It is survival. It helps animals choose mates, avoid constant conflict, and keep group structure stable. Cretaceous reminds you that dinosaur life was not only about eating and escaping. It was also about being seen and being understood. Pachycephalosaurus had a domed skull, possibly for headbutting. The dome is the first thing you notice. It looks like a living helmet, thick bone shaped into a rounded crown. That invites a dramatic idea. Two rivals face off, take a few steps back, then charge. If those impacts happened, the skull had to manage shock without destroying the brain. The structure includes dense bone and a shape that could spread force, and the neck would need strong muscles to control the hit. Yet the story may be even more interesting. The dome could also support side impacts or pushing matches, more like wrestling than ramming. Either way, it suggests contests that played out in public view, where strength and stamina mattered. Those contests would shape social hierarchy without constant lethal violence. It turns this dinosaur into something you can relate to. Animals compete today with antlers and horns and chest bumps. In deep time, some did it with bone domes, and the arena was the forest edge. Deinonychus inspired the modern raptor image with a sickle claw. This dinosaur helped rewrite the public picture of dinosaurs as slow and dull. When its fossils were studied, the anatomy told a different story. The body was built for movement, with a stiffened tail that could act like a counterbalance during fast turns. The famous curved claw was not just a blade. It was a gripping tool that could pin prey while the jaws worked. That combination suggested an active predator, alert and athletic. The impact went beyond one animal. It pushed scientists and artists to rethink posture, behavior, and even the possibility of warm-blooded activity in many dinosaurs. In other words, it helped spark a revolution in how we imagine the whole era. When you hear its name, you are not only hearing about a hunter, you are hearing about a shift in human understanding. A pile of bones changed the way museums stood their skeletons, and it changed the way the world pictured prehistory. Utahraptor was bigger than movie raptors, and truly intimidating. This predator lived earlier than the famous late Cretaceous stars, and it carried that raptor design into a heavier, more powerful form. Its sickle claw was large, and its arms were strong, which suggests it could grapple, not just slash. Picture it launching into a struggle where weight matters as much as speed. The environment it lived in included young plant eaters and other animals that could become targets, and the stakes of a hunt would be high because injury is costly for any predator. Its size also changes the mood of the landscape. A small raptor can hide in brush. A larger one can force prey to panic in open ground. It would have been hard to ignore, whether you were a rival or a meal. There is also the quiet wonder of discovery. Each time a larger species is found, it expands the range of what you thought was possible. Microraptor had 4 winged limbs, blurring the line to birds. It is hard to overstate how strange this animal is when you picture it alive. Feathers covered the arms, and feathers also spread along the legs, creating a second pair of wing surfaces. That design suggests movement through the air that was not quite like a bird, and not quite like a glider either. It may have launched from trees, then angled down through forest gaps, using all 4 surfaces to control roll and pitch. A tail fan could help with steering, like a rudder that also stabilized the body. The result is a reminder that flight was not a single invention with one clean blueprint. Nature tried different layouts, kept what worked, and discarded what did not. When you imagine a small feathered dinosaur moving between trunks and branches, you can almost feel evolution testing ideas in real time, one daring leap at a time. Archaeopteryx shows feathered wings alongside teeth and a long tail. This fossil feels like a doorway with 1 foot in each world. You see flight feathers that look ready for air, and you also see a mouth with teeth, plus a long, bony tail that does not match modern birds. That combination is thrilling because it refuses to fit into a neat box. It suggests an animal that could flutter or glide, yet still carried older features inherited from its dinosaur relatives. Picture it perched on a branch, alert and lightweight. Then it pushes off, beating its wings in short bursts, not soaring like an eagle, but slipping from tree to tree. On the ground, it might have moved with quick steps, using claws to climb and cling. The beauty of this fossil is not just what it is what it represents. It is proof that big evolutionary shifts can be gradual, and that the middle chapters can be the most fascinating. Sinosauropteryx preserved simple feathers, the earliest widely known feather coat. This discovery changed the texture of dinosaur history. Around the body, fossils preserve a halo of fine filaments, like soft fuzz rather than complex flight feathers. That matters because it points to feathers as a body covering, not as a flying machine. Warmth is one likely reason. A small animal loses heat quickly, and a filament coat can turn cold nights into survivable nights. Display could be another reason, because even simple coverings can create outlines and patterns that stand out. The fossil also shows how rare preservation can be. You need calm water, fine sediment, and a quick burial to capture such delicate detail. When conditions align, stone becomes a photograph. You do not only learn that feathers existed, you learn that some dinosaurs may have looked surprisingly familiar, like lively furred silhouettes darting through ancient woods. Oviraptor was found near eggs, and later evidence suggests parenting. For a long time, the story sounded scandalous. An adult was discovered close to a nest, and the animal was branded an egg thief. Then more discoveries shifted the entire mood. Some adults were found positioned over nests in a way that looks like brooding, with bodies arranged as if sheltering eggs. That posture is hard to explain as theft. It looks like care. It also changes how you imagine the daily life of this dinosaur. A parent must defend a spot, endure heat and storms, and resist the urge to wander far for food. It must also tolerate the chaos of a nesting area where neighbors are close and predators are watching. The name stuck, but the meaning softened. This is one of those moments where science feels like a redemption arc. A fossil once read as a crime scene becomes a portrait of devotion, and the ancient world becomes more tender and more real. Maiasaura means good mother lizard, linked to nesting colonies. The name carries a claim, and the fossils back it up with a rich set of clues. Nests appear in groups, which suggests many adults return to the same area to lay eggs. Young individuals are found in ways that hint they stayed near the nest for a time, rather than leaving immediately after hatching. That implies care beyond simply laying eggs and walking away. Imagine a landscape dotted with nest mounds and a constant background of calls and movement. Adults would need to watch for predators, and they would need to coordinate space with neighbors. There is also the rhythm of growth. If young stayed put, adults likely brought food, or at least guided feeding nearby, which turns a herd into a community with responsibilities. This picture matters because it expands the emotional range of dinosaurs. They were not only shaped by hunger and fear. Some were shaped by the demands of family life, and that demand can be relentless. Hadrosaurs formed herds, leaving trackways that stretch for miles. A single footprint is interesting. A whole corridor of footprints is a story with motion and direction. Some trek sites preserve long lines of steps that run side by side, which suggests groups traveling together across open ground. Within those lines, you can sometimes see a mix of sizes, which hints at families moving as one unit. Herding offers advantages that feel timeless. Many eyes spot danger sooner. The risk to any one individual can drop when the group is large. Young animals can stay closer to protection, and adults can learn routes to water that they follow year after year. Trackways also reveal pace. The steps can be steady and evenly spaced, like a long march rather than a panicked rush. It is a rare gift to see behavior preserved at scale. You are not guessing from bones. You're following a herd across an ancient surface, as if the ground remembered the journey and refused to forget it. Sauropods traveled in groups, shown by mixed-age footprints together. When footprints of different sizes appear on the same ancient surface, moving in the same direction, it suggests an organized passage rather than random wandering. That mix can include very small steps alongside enormous ones, which paints a picture of adults and young sharing the road. Group travel could protect juveniles, since predators often target the smallest and slowest. It could also help the herd find resources, because a large animal can strip an area quickly and must keep moving to fresh growth. Imagine the sound of it. The soft thud of many feet, the rustle of trees as necks reach and bodies pass, and the occasional tail swing that clears space. This is not a lone giant on the horizon. It is a moving population. The social side of sauropods can be easy to miss because the skeletons look like machines. Trackways remind you that they were living animals with relationships, roots, and shared risk, all pressed into mud that later turned to stone. Some fossil beds captured drought deaths, preserving whole communities at once. A drought can turn life into a funnel. Water shrinks, plants fail, and animals converge on the last remaining pools. That convergence can create a terrible trap. Crowding churns mud into a slick, and weakened animals can become stuck at the edge where thirst pulls them forward. Predators may arrive too, which adds panic and movement at exactly the wrong moment. If a sudden flood follows, or if sediment keeps accumulating, the scene can be sealed and preserved. Fossil beds like these are more than collections. They are catastrophe records. They can include plant-eaters, predators, and smaller animals that lived nearby, all layered together in a way that suggests a single harsh episode. The emotional power is that it feels like a day you could almost witness. It also helps science, because a community preserved together can reveal who shared habitats, who hunted whom, and how an ecosystem responded when stress pushed it past its limit. Bone beds can contain thousands of individuals packed into one layer. When you hear that number, it sounds like exaggeration, but some sites really do hold vast piles of bones in a tight band of rock. That kind of concentration demands an explanation. A river can collect carcasses and deposit them in one place after repeated floods. A shrinking water source can gather herds season after season until the margin becomes a graveyard. Sometimes the bones show sorting, with certain sizes grouped together, which hints at water flow rather than a single quiet death. Other times the jumble looks chaotic, like a crowd caught in crisis. For paleontologists, these sites are both treasure and puzzle. They offer huge sample sizes, which can reveal variation, growth stages, and injury patterns across a population. At the same time, they challenge you to reconstruct the event without adding fantasy. Each bone bed is like a crowded paragraph in Earth's history, and the job is to learn how to read it line by line. A fossil can form when minerals replace bone, cell by cell. It begins with loss, but it ends with a kind of preservation that feels miraculous. After burial, groundwater can move through bone and carry dissolved minerals into tiny spaces. Over time, those minerals can fill pores, then replace original material gradually until the bone becomes stone while keeping its structure. In the best cases, the microscopic architecture remains, including fine textures that once supported living tissue. It is not quick. It is chemistry working patiently in darkness. The surrounding sediment matters too, because certain environments slow decay and limit disturbance. That is why the same species can be common in one region and absent in another. Fossilization is not only about who lived. It is about who got lucky with burial, water, and time. When you hold a fossil, you are holding a collaboration between biology and geology. Life provided the shape. Birth provided the stone. Together they made a message that can survive for millions of years. Dinosaur bones can contain growth rings, like trees in stone. When paleontologists slice a fossil bone into a thin section and shine light through it, the inside can show bands that record time. Some bands look like pauses, laid down when food was scarce or seasons were harsh. Between those lines, the bone can be dense and fast-grown, like a calendar written in living tissue. That means a single limb bone can hint at how quickly an animal grew when it hit growth spurts, and whether it slowed down year after year. It also lets scientists compare individuals from the same species, because not every dinosaur lived the same life. One might have grown steadily. Another might show stress, illness, or a rough habitat. It is a quiet kind of wonder. The animal is gone, yet its body kept notes. Millions of years later, those notes can still be read. Some dinosaurs suffered arthritis, showing age and long survival. Not every dinosaur died young in a dramatic chase. Some lived long enough for their joints to wear down, and their bones remember it. Arthritic joints can show roughened surfaces, bony overgrowth, and changes where cartilage once cushioned movement. That kind of damage suggests a life with thousands of heavy steps, and it hints at endurance through seasons of hunger, injury, and danger. Imagine an older individual moving more carefully, choosing routes with steadier footing and relying on experience rather than speed. For herd animals, age could also mean status. An older adult might know where water returns after dry months. It might recognize warning signs in weather and in predators. Arthritis is painful, but it is also proof of something surprisingly hopeful. It means survival was possible beyond youth. In a world we often picture as constant chaos, some dinosaurs grew old enough to carry the slow marks of time. Fossils preserve healed fractures, proving dinosaurs survived brutal injuries. A broken bone is not a story you expect to find in stone, yet fossils can show clear signs of healing. A fracture may be bridged by new bone growth, or the bone may be thickened where the body repaired itself. That means the animal lived, sometimes for months or years, after the injury happened. Picture what that takes in the wild. A predator with a damaged limb must still hunt, or it must find easier food, or it must endure hunger while healing. A plant eater with a fracture must still travel to water, and it must still keep up with the safety of the group. These injuries also hint at the dangers of daily life. A fall, a fight, a misstep in mud, or a hard blow from a rival could all leave lasting damage. Healing turns a fossil from a skeleton into a survivor. Bite marks on bones reveal failed hunts and desperate escapes. Sometimes a fossil bone carries grooves, punctures, or serrated scratches that match the teeth of a predator. Those marks can land in places that tell a story. A bite on a tail vertebra can suggest a chase, where the attacker grabbed what it could as prey fled. A cluster of bites on a limb can suggest a struggle on the ground, where the predator tried to pin and hold. In some cases, the bone shows healing around the injury, which means the victim got away. That is one of the most thrilling details in dinosaur science, because it captures a near miss. It is not just who ate whom. It is who almost did, and who refused to become a meal. Other bones show bite marks with no healing at all, which points to feeding after death. Either way, the marks act like a transcript of violence and survival, etched into the hardest tissue the body had. Coprolites are fossilized droppings, and they can reveal exact diets. It sounds unglamorous, yet it is one of the most direct windows into daily life. A coprolite can hold fragments of what an animal ate, because digestion does not erase everything. Inside, scientists might find crushed bone bits, fish scales, plant fibers, or tiny seeds, all packed into a single hardened mass. That evidence can confirm whether an animal was eating meat, plants, or a mix, without relying only on teeth and guesses. It can also reveal surprising details, like how thoroughly food was processed, or whether the animal swallowed tough material whole. In some cases, the shape and size can hint at the kind of animal that produced it, especially when found near matching tracks or skeletons. A coprolite is a time capsule from an ordinary moment, and that is why it is so powerful. It brings dinosaur life down from myth and into routine. Fossil stomach stones show some dinosaurs used rocks to grind food. Some plant-eating dinosaurs may have carried a secret toolkit inside their bodies. Smooth, rounded stones found in the ribcage area of certain fossils are interpreted as gastroliths, rocks swallowed on purpose. The idea is simple. If you cannot chew well, you can still break down tough plants by letting stones churn inside the digestive tract, crushing fibers as the stomach moves. You see a modern echo of this in birds like chickens, which use grit to help process food. The stones themselves can be polished from wear, and they can appear in clusters that make accidental swallowing less likely. This behavior also tells you something about dinosaur meals. Leaves, stems, and cones can be stubborn, and a giant body needs a steady flow of usable energy. Swallowing stones is not glamorous, but it is clever. It shows how digestion can be an engineering problem, and how nature solves problems with whatever is available. Nest fossils preserve eggshell texture, helping identify their makers. An eggshell is not just a container. It is a patterned structure with pores and layers that control gas exchange and strength. When eggshell fragments fossilize, their texture can be studied closely, almost like fingerprints. Different dinosaurs produced shells with different microstructures, and that can help scientists match eggs to the animals that laid them, even when the parent skeleton is missing. The nest itself adds more clues. Egg arrangement can hint at how the eggs were laid, and the surrounding sediment can suggest whether the nest was buried, exposed, or built into a mound. It becomes a detective story that starts with crumbs. From a scatter of shell, you can infer temperature, moisture, and even how fragile the egg might have been under pressure. That matters because nesting is where a species bets its future. Eggshell fossils let us see that bet, not as a guess, but as preserved evidence. Dinosaur embryos have been found curled inside unhatched eggs. Few discoveries feel as intimate as an embryo fossil because it captures a life that never reached the outside world. Inside some fossil eggs, tiny bones are preserved in a curled posture, tucked in the way many baby birds position themselves before hatching. This can reveal more than identity. It can hint at development stages, and even how close the embryo was to breaking free. It also opens a door to behavior, because modern animals often take specific positions to prepare for hatching. Seeing a similar posture suggests deep continuity across time. There is also the emotional weight of it. A nest failed, perhaps from flooding, cold, or predators, and the loss became a record instead of a disappearance. From a scientific view, embryos can link eggs to species with unusual certainty because the bones carry diagnostic shapes. From a human view, they remind you that dinosaur history includes fragile beginnings, not only towering adults. Skin impressions can show scales, bumps, and even wrinkle patterns. Bones are the framework, but skin is where an animal meets the world. Under rare conditions, the outer surface can fossilize as an impression, preserving textures that once moved and flexed. These impressions can show scale shapes, the spacing of bumps, and folds that suggest how skin stretched over joints. That matters for more than appearance. Skin texture can hint at protection, heat management, and even how an animal interacted with its environment. A pebbly surface might resist abrasion from plants. Larger scales in certain areas could provide extra toughness where the body scraped against the ground. In some cases, impressions appear alongside footprints, which helps connect an animal's movement to its outer covering. These finds also correct old assumptions. Not every dinosaur was uniformly scaly, and not every region of the body looked the same. A skin impression is like a close-up photo in an album that mostly contains skeletons. It makes the animal feel present, and suddenly more believable. Some fossils preserve feathers so clearly you can see their shafts. Feather fossils can be so detailed that you can trace the central shaft, then follow the branching structures that once locked together in life. That level of preservation requires extraordinary conditions, like fine sediment settling in calm water and sealing the body before scavengers and decay erase the outline. When it happens, the result is not just proof of feathers. It is a glimpse of texture and arrangement. You can tell whether feathers formed a loose coat, a tail fan, or longer veins on the arms. That helps scientists infer how feathers were used, whether for insulation, display, or controlling movement while running and leaping. It also changes the sound of the ancient world in your mind, because feathers rustle. They catch wind. They shift with posture. Seeing shafts preserved in stone is like seeing motion paused. It takes a feature we know from living birds and anchors it deep in prehistory with clarity that feels almost impossible. Melanosomes in feathers can hint at ancient colors and patterns. Color sounds like something fossils could never keep, yet tiny pigment structures can survive in astonishing detail. In some feather impressions, microscopes reveal packed shapes that match melanosomes, which are the pigment-carrying bodies found in modern feathers. Different shapes tend to correlate with different kinds of dark tones, and their arrangement can suggest bands, shading, or patches, rather than one flat color. That opens a new kind of history, because color is communication. A dark back could help with camouflage from above. A contrasting tail could be a signal during courtship or rivalry. Even a simple stripe can change how a moving animal is seen in a forest of shadows. This is also a reminder that fossils are not only bones. Sometimes they preserve a surface world of texture and pigment that once flashed in sunlight. The dinosaur story gains fashion, signals, and identity, all written in microscopic ink. Dinosaur ears and balanced canals reveal how well some could sprint. Inside the skull, there is a hidden set of curves that act like a motion sensor. The inner ear includes semicircular canals, and their shape is linked to balance and rapid head movements in living animals. When scientists study these structures in dinosaur skulls, they can infer how agile an animal might have been and how well it could stabilize its gaze while running. A predator that snaps at moving prey benefits from quick head control. A fast herbivore needs steady balance when it bolts through uneven ground. The thrill is that this evidence is not about teeth or claws. It is about coordination. It suggests how an animal experienced motion and how its brain and body worked together during a chase. You could almost picture the moment. Feet hammer the earth, the head stays steady, and the eyes lock forward while the world blurs at the edges. These canals are tiny. Their implications are huge. Dinosaur brains left endocasts, offering clues to senses and behavior. Brains rarely fossilize, but skulls can preserve the space where a brain once sat. When that space is studied or digitally scanned, it can be turned into an endocast that shows the overall shape and the relative size of key regions. That gives hints about what mattered most. Enlarged areas tied to vision can suggest an animal that relied on sharp sight. Stronger regions linked to coordination can suggest complex movement and quick reactions. In some cases, the shape of the inner ear and the brain case together can hint at posture, because the head's balance system has to match how the body carries itself. The beauty of an endocast is that it feels like listening at a locked door. You cannot hear the thoughts. You can learn what tools those thoughts had. It turns dinosaurs into more than bodies. It makes them into sensing creatures with priorities, strengths, and limits. Some predators had huge smell regions, suggesting tracking by scent. A strong sense of smell can turn a landscape into a map. In some dinosaur skulls, the regions associated with olfaction appear especially developed, which suggests that scent played a major role in finding food. That does not only mean hunting. It could mean locating hidden carcasses, following a wounded animal's trail, or detecting rivals before a fight begins. Smell also matters at night, and in dense vegetation, and in bad weather when vision fails. Imagine a predator lifting its head, sampling the air, then turning with purpose toward an unseen source. That moment feels modern, because wolves and sharks do it today in their own ways. In the dinosaur world, scent could have been an advantage that shaped who ate and who starved. It also changes how you picture the ancient world itself. If smell mattered, then the air was full of information. Rivers carried it. Wind scattered it. Even fear had a trace. Many herbivores had broad snouts, adapted for cropping tough plants. A broad snout is like a wide shovel. It lets an animal take big mouthfuls quickly, and it favors steady feeding over picky selection. In habitats where plants were tough, fibrous, and spread across open ground, that kind of mouth can be a winning design. It turns grazing into a rhythm. Head down, bite, step, bite again. Over time, a herd of broad-snouted herbivores could reshape a landscape, keeping certain plants low and opening paths through dense growth. The snout also hints at lifestyle. A wide muzzle often suggests feeding in groups because it supports rapid intake without careful choosing. That can be useful when you need to eat a lot every day and when you want to keep time for watching predators. This is the kind of detail that makes dinosaurs feel real. You can hear the tearing of vegetation. You can picture the steady procession. Anatomy becomes behavior. Tooth batteries in hadrosaurs acted like living conveyor belts. In the jaws of many duck-billed dinosaurs, teeth were not a simple row. They were stacked and packed into dense columns, with new teeth forming and moving into place as older ones wore down. The result was a grinding surface that stayed effective even while it was constantly being used. That is a stunning solution to a hard problem. Plants can be abrasive, especially when grit and dust coat leaves near the ground. A normal set of teeth might wear out too fast. A tooth battery turns wear into a managed process. It lets an animal feed for years while keeping its chewing tools sharp and functional. It also suggests a lifestyle built around serious processing, not quick swallowing. You can imagine the sound of it, a steady crunching, hour after hour, as a herd feeds and the forest edge slowly changes shape. Evolution built a mill inside the mouth, and it ran every day. Some dinosaurs replaced teeth constantly, like sharks do today. For many dinosaurs, a lost tooth was not a disaster. It was expected. Teeth could loosen, fall out, and be replaced as new ones grew in, ready to take over. That system fits a world where feeding is rough. Biting struggling prey and snap teeth. Stripping gritty plants can grind them down. A replacement cycle keeps the mouth ready for the next meal, and it reduces the cost of damage. This also creates an odd kind of fossil trail. Shed teeth can be found without the rest of the skeleton, and they can still identify who lived in an area. Imagine walking along an ancient riverbank and finding teeth scattered like dropped tools. The animal did not die. It simply left evidence behind with every bite, and time buried it. Tooth replacement is one of those quiet adaptations that makes a predator or herbivore more resilient. It is a built-in repair plan, running in the background of daily life. Sauropod teeth were peg-like, suited for stripping leaves fast. These giants did not need teeth shaped for careful chewing. Many had simple, narrow teeth that functioned more like rakes than knives. With a mouthful of those pegs, a sauropod could grab foliage and paw, stripping leaves from branches quickly. That speed matters when you are enormous, because you need a huge volume of plant material every day. Instead of spending time grinding, the strategy could be to gather fast, swallow, and let digestion do the heavy work. It also changes how you picture feeding. Rather than delicately browsing, you get a powerful pull that can clear a branch in seconds. Over time, that behavior could shape the vegetation around popular feeding routes. You can also imagine the wear on those teeth, because repeated stripping is abrasive. That helps explain why tooth shape varies among sauropods. Different plants, different feeding heights, and different styles of grabbing would all reward different dental tools. Even a simple peg can tell a complex story. Triceratops' teeth sliced plants with shearing, self-sharpening edges. A jaw is a machine, and this one was built for work. The teeth fit together so that biting created a shearing action, like blades passing closely rather than simply crushing. As the teeth wore down, the wear could maintain a sharp edge, because different parts of the tooth material eroded at different rates. That means feeding could stay efficient without constant replacement of the whole cutting surface. This matters because the plants of its world were not soft salads. Many were tough, and some were packed with fibers that resist tearing. A powerful beak could crop vegetation. Then the back teeth could process it with a steady slicing motion. You can picture the head lowering, the beak snapping off a mouthful, then the jaw working like a press with built-in scissors. This is a vivid reminder that herbivores are not passive. They are equipped. Their survival depends on turning stubborn plants into fuel, and that requires real engineering. T-Rex likely used deep bites to crush and splinter bone. One way to understand this predator is to imagine it as an animal that could treat bone like food, not like an obstacle. Evidence from damaged fossil bones shows impacts that go beyond surface scoring, with fractures that suggest enormous pressure delivered in a single clamp. A deep bite also changes the risks of feeding, because bone can fight back. Teeth can break. Jaws can be strained. Yet this animal seems built for that gamble, with a head shaped for power and a bite that could end a struggle quickly. This ability would have mattered in crowded ecosystems where meals were contested. A predator that can break through hard parts can access more of a carcass, and it can do it faster. Think of the scene in sound. One heavy crunch, a snap of fracture. Then the quiet work of feeding continues. It is not elegant. It is effective. In deep time, that effectiveness is a kind of dominance. Fossilized fish inside rib cages show certain dinosaurs hunted in rivers. Few things feel more convincing than finding the meal still inside the diner. In rare fossils, the remains of fish appear where a stomach would have been, framed by ribs like a locked cabinet. That places the animal at the water's edge, or in the water itself, and it tells you what it was doing on an ordinary day. Rivers are busy places. They offer food, but they also demand balance on slick banks, patience in reeds, and sudden bursts of motion when prey flashes past. A fish-hunting dinosaur would have needed timing, because water turns speed into drag and mistakes into splashes that scare everything away. This evidence also hints at habitat choice. A river hunter can avoid competition on land, and it can follow waterways like long highways through a landscape. When you imagine a dinosaur standing still beside a current, watching for the shimmer of scales, the past feels immediate and believable. Spinosaur teeth are conical, ideal for gripping slippery prey. Conical teeth do not behave like steak knives. They behave like spikes. Their job is to puncture and hold, not to slice cleanly. That is exactly what you want when your target is wet, twisting, and ready to slip free. A fish can rocket away in an instant. A spiked tooth can catch it like a hook, keeping it pinned long enough for the jaws to close and the head to lift. This tooth shape also reduces the risk of breakage during sudden struggles, because thick teeth can handle jolts better than thin blades. It hints at feeding that was quick and practical, with less tearing and more trapping. Picture the moment. A flash in the water. A snap. Then the prey is trapped, and the predator turns its head to reposition the catch. Teeth can reveal an entire lifestyle, And these teeth whisper of rivers, wetlands, and meals that fought to be free. Long necks may have helped sauropods feed without moving much. A huge body costs energy every time it shifts position. A long neck can act like a living crane, letting the animal reach across a wide feeding zone while its heavy torso stays planted. That means fewer steps, less heat, and less effort, especially when the ground is uneven or soft. It also changes how a herd might use a landscape. Several giants could stand in place and sweep their heads through different heights and angles, harvesting foliage efficiently without constant marching. In a world where food can be patchy, that kind of reach is valuable. It lets an animal exploit a whole circle of plants, then move only when the circle is exhausted. The neck is not only length, it is control, because muscles and ligaments have to guide that weight smoothly. Imagine a slow, deliberate arc through leaves, the head shifting like a searchlight. It is not frantic feeding. It is patient, economical power. Sauropod air sacs lightened their bodies, like birds today. When we picture a giant, we often imagine solid mass. Many sauropods were built differently. Their bones could be honeycombed with spaces connected to air sacs, which reduces weight without sacrificing strength. This matters because saving even a small percentage of body mass becomes enormous at that scale. Lighter construction can make movement less costly, and it can help a tall animal support a long neck without collapsing under its own architecture. Air sacs also hint at internal complexity, because they are part of a system that moves air through the body in ways that can improve breathing efficiency. You do not have to imagine a clumsy beast that wheezes its way through life. You can imagine a giant with built-in engineering, shaped by evolution to manage weight and oxygen together. The idea feels almost futuristic, yet it exists in living birds, and it may have helped some of the largest animals ever to walk the earth. Some dinosaurs likely had bird-like lungs, built for steady oxygen flow. Bird lungs are not simple bellows. They move air through in a way that can keep fresh oxygen available even as the animal exhales. If some dinosaurs had a similar setup, it would help explain how active bodies could run, hunt, and migrate without quickly tiring. It also fits with the presence of air sacs seen in many dinosaur skeletons, because air sacs are part of that broader breathing design in birds. The exciting part is what this suggests about daily life. A predator can chase longer. A herbivore can travel farther between water sources. A youngster can grow while staying energetic. Breathing is a hidden limit on what an animal can do, and a more efficient system raises that limit. Picture a dinosaur moving through heat over long distances with lungs that keep pace without dramatic panting. The body becomes more than muscle and bone. It becomes a machine for endurance, tuned to a world where survival often favored the animal that could keep going. Dinosaurs laid hard-shelled eggs, but eggs came in many shapes. An egg is a portable nursery, and its design has to balance strength with fragility. A hard shell protects a developing embryo from pressure and dehydration, yet it must also allow gases to pass through tiny pores. Different shapes can solve different problems. A longer egg can pack more efficiently in a nest arrangement. A rounder egg can resist rolling forces and distribute pressure in a different way. Shell thickness, pore patterns, and overall form also interact with nesting style, whether the eggs were partially buried, laid on open ground, or sheltered under vegetation. This variety tells you dinosaurs were not using one universal blueprint. They were adapting reproduction to local conditions, predators, and climate. It also makes nests feel personal. Each species was making a bet about what would keep the next generation alive. When you imagine a clutch of eggs waiting through storms and heat, you are looking at a strategy, not just a shape. Some eggs were nearly spherical. others long and narrow. That range is not random. Shape can influence how an egg fits in the body during laying, and it can influence how it sits in a nest once it is placed. A nearly spherical egg can be stable in shallow depressions, and its proportions can change how heat spreads through the developing embryo. A long, narrow egg can be arranged in tighter patterns, which may help a parent manage space, especially in crowded nesting grounds. Shape also interacts with shell strength. Certain forms can better resist pressure from above, which matters if eggs are covered by sediment or plant material. Even the way hatchlings emerge can be affected because a different curve changes the internal geometry. These details sound small until you remember what is at stake. A single crack at the wrong time can end a life before it begins. Egg shapes are fossil evidence of problem solving, carried out by evolution over millions of years. Every curve hints at a nesting world we rarely get to see. Nest spacing suggests colonies, where many adults nested close together. When nests appear in patterns across a site, with repeated distances between them, it implies something organized rather than accidental. Colonies can form when a location offers the right conditions, like suitable soil, drainage, and access to food nearby. Nesting close together can also dilute danger. A predator cannot target every nest at once, and many adults in one area can create a wall of vigilance and defense. Yet colonies also bring tension. Space is limited, and neighbors are loud, competitive, and sometimes aggressive. That makes nest spacing a clue to social rules, because consistent spacing suggests boundaries that were respected, whether by threat displays or learned behavior. You can imagine the scene as a seasonal event. Adults arrive, choose spots, build or scrape nests, then settle into a period of risk where every movement matters. A colony is not just a cluster of eggs. It is a community under pressure, where the future of a species lies close to the ground. Some dinosaurs likely used calls, crests, or colors to attract mates. Courtship is one of the oldest forces in nature, and it often shapes bodies in dramatic ways. A crest can act as a billboard, visible from far away in open country. Color can create quick signals in a crowded herd, where a glance has to carry meaning. Calls can travel through trees and over hills, reaching individuals you cannot see. These signals are not just decoration. They can reveal health, maturity, and confidence, and they can help animals choose partners without constant fighting. That matters because fights are costly. An injury can end a breeding season or end a life. Display offers a safer contest where posture, sound, and visibility do the work. Imagine a group at dusk. One animal steps forward, lifts its head, and lets out a resonant call. Another answers. A third watches, judging. In that moment, dinosaurs stop being only survivors. They become performers, and the stage is the living landscape. The Mesozoic era includes Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous chapters. Think of dinosaur time as a long trilogy, with each part changing the cast and the scenery. In the Triassic, early dinosaurs were newcomers in a world still recovering, sharing space with other powerful reptiles. In the Jurassic, giants stretched into the canopy, and famous long-necked plant-eaters became the moving architecture of the land. By the Cretaceous, the continents looked more familiar, and many of the headline dinosaurs people recognize today had arrived. These chapters were not just different names on a timeline. They were different climates, different plants, and different rivalries. If you could step through them like doorways, you would feel the planet shift under your feet. Coastlines redraw. Forests change character. New kinds of predators appear. The word dinosaur covers all of it, but the Mesozoic reminds you it was never one single world. Dinosaurs first appeared after Earth's worst mass extinction ended. Before dinosaurs rose, the planet went through a catastrophe so severe that most species vanished. The aftermath was a strange, emptied world where ecosystems had to be rebuilt almost from scratch. Dinosaurs arrived into that space like opportunists with good timing. They were not instantly dominant, but they carried features that could pay off in a rebuilding biosphere, like upright legs that supported efficient movement and bodies that could adapt to many roles. As habitats recovered, the rules were not fixed yet. New lineages could expand into openings that had no established owners. That is one reason their story feels so dramatic. It begins not in a stable garden, but in a recovering planet with room to experiment. Over time, those experiments became familiar forms, and then those forms became the rulers of land. When you picture their origin, do not picture a parade of giants. Picture a scarred Earth making room for new life, and dinosaurs stepping into the vacancy. Early dinosaurs were small, and they shared the world with other reptiles. The first dinosaurs were not towering icons. They were relatively modest animals moving through a crowded landscape, where other reptiles were already filling the roles of hunters and plant-eaters. That shared world matters, because it means dinosaurs had to compete, not simply arrive and conquer. Their bodies were built for active movement, with legs positioned under the body instead of sprawled to the side. That posture can make long-distance travel more efficient, and it can help with quick changes in direction. In the early chapters, that may have been the edge they needed. They could range, explore, and exploit new habitats as climates shifted. Over time, small advantages can become big outcomes, especially when environments keep changing. It is also a humbling thought. The dynasty began in the shadows, among rivals that are mostly forgotten now. Dinosaurs became famous later, but their start was a scramble, not a coronation. Pangaea broke apart during dinosaur time, reshaping migration routes. At the start of dinosaur history, much of the land was joined into a supercontinent. Then, slowly and relentlessly, it split. Cracks widened into rifts. Rifts became seas, and familiar routes turned into dead ends. For animals, that is like having your hometown drift away over millions of years. Populations that were once connected became isolated, and isolation can create new species, because evolution starts working on separate copies of the same original plan. It also changed the weather. Coastlines grew longer, oceans influenced rainfall, and habitats shifted in response. A dinosaur lineage on one landmass could evolve in a direction that never happened elsewhere, simply because its world offered different challenges and different prey. This is why the dinosaur family tree looks like a patchwork across continents. The planet was rearranging the board while the game was still being played, and dinosaurs adapted to the new geography with every generation. Sea levels rose and fell, creating inland seas across continents. During parts of dinosaur time, oceans pushed far into the continents, turning broad regions into shallow seas. These waters could split land into long islands, and they could transform travel into a series of peninsulas and narrow corridors. For dinosaurs, that meant borders that shifted with the water. A herd route that worked for centuries could become blocked by marsh and shoreline. Predators could find themselves restricted to smaller ranges, while coastal habitats expanded and offered new food webs. Inland seas also changed climate, because nearby water can soften temperatures and increase humidity. It is easy to forget that dinosaurs lived on a planet that breathed in and out with the oceans. The shoreline was not a fixed line. It was a moving frontier. When you imagine a dinosaur looking out over a vast inland sea, you are seeing a world that feels familiar and alien at the same time, with waves where there is now farmland. Dinosaurs lived with giant insects, early mammals, and strange marine reptiles. A dinosaur landscape was not empty, except for dinosaurs. It was a layered community. Insects buzzed and crawled, some reaching sizes that feel exaggerated until you remember how different oxygen levels and ecosystems can be over deep time. Early mammals were there too, often small, quick, and living lives that avoided attention. They were part of the background, but the background matters. Small animals spread seeds, eat insects, and become prey, which ties an ecosystem together. Along coastlines and in nearby seas, marine reptiles hunted, and their presence influenced what washed up on shores and what lived in river mouths. This mix gives dinosaur history its richness. The famous giants were part of a broader web, full of tiny drama and constant motion. Picture a night scene. Large animals settle, while smaller creatures take over the darkness, running the same land on a different schedule. The Mesozoic was a whole world, not a single spotlight. Pterosaurs were not dinosaurs, yet they soared above dinosaur landscapes. If you looked up in many dinosaur skies, you might see shapes like living kites. Pterosaurs were flying reptiles, not dinosaurs, and they evolved their own path into the air. Some were small enough to perch and hop. Others grew enormous, with wingspans that could rival small aircraft. Their flight was not just gliding. Their bodies were built with strong wing membranes supported by an extended finger, and many had lightweight skeletons that made takeoff possible. Imagine them launching from a shoreline, catching rising air, and scanning for fish or carrion. They shared the world with dinosaurs, but they occupied a different layer of the ecosystem, one that turned distance into opportunity. Their presence also changes the mood of dinosaur scenes. It means the land was watched from above. A carcass could be spotted quickly. A migrating herd could be shadowed. The air was alive with competition too, and that makes the prehistoric world feel fully inhabited. Ichthyosaurs were not dinosaurs, yet they ruled oceans like dolphins. In the seas of the Mesozoic, ichthyosaurs moved with a shape that looks startlingly modern. Their bodies were streamlined, built for speed, with strong tails and flippers that suggest active pursuit in open water. They were reptiles, not dinosaurs, and not fish either, yet evolution sculpted them into a form that resembles today's swift marine hunters. That resemblance is a lesson in how physics can guide life. If you need to slice through water efficiently, certain shapes keep appearing, even in unrelated lineages. Ichthyosaurs also show that the dinosaur age was not only a land story. While dinosaurs walked forests and plains, the oceans had their own rulers, chasing prey through currents and depth. Imagine surfacing for air, then diving again into blue darkness, guided by keen senses and powerful muscles. The Mesozoic Sea was not empty space between continents. It was a stage with its own stars, and ichthyosaurs were among the brightest. Mosasaurs were not dinosaurs, yet they hunted in late seas. Late in dinosaur time, mosasaurs became some of the most formidable hunters in marine ecosystems. They were marine lizards adapted to life in water, and they turned coastal seas into dangerous territory for fish, turtles, and other marine reptiles. Their bodies were built for swimming, with limbs shaped into paddles and tails designed to drive them forward. Imagine cruising through an inland sea where sunlight fades quickly, then accelerating in a sudden burst toward movement ahead. That kind of predation shapes everything around it. Prey changes where it swims. Carcasses attract scavengers. Even shorelines become more perilous, because a hunter that patrols shallows can strike near the surface. Mosasaurs also remind you how many dramatic creatures shared the same era without being dinosaurs at all. When people say the dinosaur age, they often picture land only. Mosasaurs widen the lens. The oceans had their own apex stories, and they were every bit as intense. Crocodilians survived alongside dinosaurs, changing far less than dinosaurs did. Crocodilians are like a living thread that runs through deep time. Their relatives lived alongside dinosaurs, and their basic plan proved so effective that it did not need constant reinvention. A low-profile body, powerful jaws, and a lifestyle built around water edges can be a long-term winning strategy. Rivers and swamps are stable refuges compared to open plains, and they offer ambush opportunities that reward patience over speed. That stability may be part of why crocodilian lineages endured, while many others changed drastically. It is also a reminder that survival is not always about becoming bigger or stranger. Sometimes it is about being well-suited to a niche that persists through upheaval. Imagine a dinosaur coming to drink, and a crocodilian waiting with only eyes above the surface. That scene could have played out countless times, across millions of years. Today, when you see a crocodile, you are seeing an ancient design that stayed close to what works, while the rest of the world transformed around it. The first mammals lived under dinosaur shadows, mostly small and nocturnal. While dinosaurs filled the daylight with hooves, claws, and thunderous footsteps, the earliest mammals often lived in the margins. Many were small enough to hide in burrows, slip into crevices, or climb into tangled roots. Night offered safety. Darkness reduced the advantage of sharp dinosaur vision, and it gave tiny bodies a chance to forage without becoming an easy target. Fossils of jaws and teeth hint at diets that could include insects, seeds, and small prey, which are foods you can find without wrestling a giant. This hidden lifestyle shaped what mammals became later. Features like warm fur, sensitive hearing, and sharp smell are useful when you move through shadows and listen for danger. It is a thrilling reversal. The animals that would one day build cities began as quiet survivors, living careful lives beneath a world ruled by giants. Flowering plants appeared later, transforming dinosaur diets and habitats. For much of dinosaur history, landscapes were dominated by conifers, cycads, and ferns. Then, flowering plants began to spread, and the ground cover changed in ways that would have felt dramatic if you could watch it happen. Flowers meant new fruits and new seeds, and those foods can be energy-dense and seasonally abundant. As flowering plants diversified, they reshaped riverbanks, plains, and forest edges. That reshaping would ripple into dinosaur behavior. Herbivores faced new menus and new defenses like tougher leaves or chemical deterrents. Insects also responded, which matters because insects pollinate, spread, and become food for other creatures. A changing plant world changes the whole schedule of life. Feeding routes shift. Nesting sites shift. Even camouflage shifts when the colors and textures of the environment evolve. Dinosaurs did not live on a static green backdrop. The stage itself kept changing, and flowering plants were one of the biggest set changes of all. Some dinosaurs lived in polar regions with months of darkness. It is tempting to imagine dinosaurs only in warm swamps and lush jungles, yet fossils show some lived at high latitudes where winter darkness could last for long stretches. That raises vivid questions. How do you find food when light is scarce? How do you stay warm when the season turns harsh? Some dinosaurs may have stayed year-round, relying on hardy vegetation and a metabolism suited to cool conditions. Others may have moved with the seasons, tracking the return of light and plant growth. Either way, life near the poles would shape behavior. Herding could help with protection and navigation. Larger bodies can hold heat better, and feathered coats could add insulation for smaller species. The most fascinating part is the atmosphere. Imagine a dinosaur landscape under a low sun that barely rises, with long twilight hours and a sky that feels endless. Prehistory includes places that sound improbable, yet the rocks insist they were real. Fossil forests in Antarctica show it was once far warmer. Antarctica now suggests ice, wind, and silence. In dinosaur times, evidence of ancient forests tells a different story. Fossil wood, leaf impressions, and plant remains show that trees once grew there, which means temperatures and ecosystems supported persistent plant life. That does not mean it was tropical, but it does mean it was not the frozen desert we know today. This discovery also highlights how Earth changes on deep timescales. Continents drift, ocean currents shift, greenhouse gases rise and fall. The result can turn a future ice world into a place with rivers, soils, and forests. If forests existed, animals could too, and that possibility expands the dinosaur map into a region many people never imagine. Picture a southern forest with strange light patterns through the year and dinosaurs moving between trunks that would one day sit beneath kilometers of ice. Fossil forests are like postcards from an Earth that no longer exists, delivered across time with astonishing clarity. A few dinosaurs likely migrated seasonally to follow food and water. Seasonal movement is a practical solution when resources shift with rainfall and temperature. If a region dries out, water holes shrink and plants become sparse. If another region greens up, it becomes a temporary banquet. Evidence like trackways and patterns of fossils across wide areas suggests some dinosaurs may have followed these seasonal rhythms. Migration would not be a single dramatic sprint. It would be a long procession, paced for the youngest and the weakest, with constant risk along the route. Predators could learn the paths and wait. Storms could flood crossings. Yet the reward is survival, because reaching a better feeding ground can mean the difference between thriving and starving. Migration also implies memory and social cohesion. A route has to be learned, repeated, and shared across generations. Imagine a herd cresting a ridge and finding a valley turned green after rains. That moment would feel like relief, and it would be worth the journey. Trackways can show herd direction, speed, and group spacing patterns. A track site is like a page of movement, and the details can be surprisingly specific. When footprints run in parallel lines, they can reveal a shared direction of travel, and they can hint at how tightly the group stayed together. Stride length and footprint depth can offer clues about pace, because faster movement often leaves longer spacing and different pressure patterns. Spacing between individuals can also suggest behavior. A tight cluster can imply caution or protection for young. Wider spacing can imply relaxed travel across open terrain. Some sites even show different sizes moving together, which hints at mixed age groups. What makes this so compelling is the immediacy. Bones tell you what an animal looked like. Trackways let you follow what it did. You can stand where a dinosaur stood, measure its step, and imagine the moment it passed with others beside it. The ground becomes a witness, and it kept its testimony for millions of years. One track site preserves a stampede, frozen in ancient mud. Most days in prehistory left no record, but a stampede can press panic into the earth like a signature. At certain sites, footprints overlap in chaotic directions, with deep gouges and uneven spacing that suggest sudden acceleration and sharp turns. Something triggered that burst of motion. It could have been a predator, a collapsing riverbank, a flash flood, or even a loud natural event that spooked a herd. Whatever the cause, the ground was soft enough to capture the frenzy, and then it hardened before weather could erase it. That sequence is rare, which is why such sites feel almost cinematic. You are not only learning that dinosaurs existed, you are seeing fear and urgency preserved as geometry. Each footprint becomes a heartbeat. Some tracks may cut across others, which hints at individuals pushing past companions in a desperate rush. Then, abruptly, the scene stops. The herd is gone, yet the moment remains, locked in stone like a paused frame from a film. Dinosaur bones can be found on every continent, even Antarctica. This global spread is one of the simplest ways to grasp how successful dinosaurs were. Fossils appear across North and South America, Europe, Asia, Africa, Australia, and even Antarctica. That does not mean every place had the same species, because geography and climate shaped local lineups. Still, the fact that remains exist on every continent tells you dinosaurs were adaptable and widespread across changing environments. It also tells a human story about discovery. Paleontology is not limited to one famous desert. It happens in polar expeditions, remote badlands, coastal cliffs, and windswept plateaus. Each continent adds a different chapter, and sometimes a single bone can shift what we thought was possible for a region. Antarctica is especially striking because it forces you to imagine dinosaurs in a place now defined by ice. The fossils do not care about our mental images. They simply state the truth, and the truth is larger than our expectations. Some dinosaur fossils come from river floods that buried bodies quickly. A river can be both a giver and a thief. It provides water and fertile banks, but it also floods, and floods can bury a landscape in a single violent season. When an animal dies near a channel, rising water can move sediment fast, covering the body before scavengers pull it apart. That quick burial is one of the best paths to fossilization, because it shields bones from weather and disturbance. Floods can also transport bodies, piling remains into bends and low spots where debris collects. Over time, layers build up, and the bones become part of the river's own archive. This explains why some of the most famous dinosaur sites come from ancient floodplains. Those plains were busy with life, and they were also prone to sudden burial events that turned tragedy into preservation. Imagine muddy water rushing over a bank, filling a hollow, and sealing a body beneath silt. The river moves on, and millions of years later, the hidden story is uncovered. Amber can trap feathers, preserving tiny details for millions of years. Amber begins as sticky tree resin, and it is a surprisingly effective time capsule. When resin oozes down bark, it can trap small objects, including feathers that drift too close. If the resin is buried and hardened over long periods, it can preserve those trapped fragments with astonishing delicacy. A feather in amber can show fine, branching structures that normally vanish, and it can preserve a sense of texture that stone impressions sometimes miss. This matters because feathers are light and fragile, and they are usually destroyed long before fossilization can occur. Amber offers a different preservation pathway, one that protects tiny details from crushing and decay. It also gives a vivid setting. If feathers are in amber, trees were nearby. Forests existed. Dinosaurs or early birds moved through those woods, shedding feathers the way animals do today. The resin did not know it was saving history. It simply did what resin does. Time did the rest. The Chicxulub crater marks the impact linked to the end Cretaceous. Buried beneath the sea floor near the Yucatan lies a scar so large it rewrote life on Earth. The crater is called Chicxulub, and its size matches an impact powerful enough to shake the entire planet. Rocks around the world preserve clues that point back to that single collision, including shocked minerals formed under extreme pressure and tiny glassy droplets that rained down after molten material blasted into the sky. Coastal regions show signs of immense waves, as if whole shorelines were suddenly rearranged. In an instant, forests, rivers, and seas entered a new phase of history. The crater is not only a place. It is a turning point you can locate on a map, which makes extinction feel less like an abstract idea and more like a real event with an address. When you picture it, imagine a bright flush, then a world that never fully returns to what it was before. After the impact, soot and dust dimmed sunlight worldwide for months. The first catastrophe was the strike itself, but the second catastrophe was the sky. Fine dust and darker particles rose high enough to spread around the globe, turning daylight weak and strange. With less sunlight, photosynthesis slowed, and the base of many food chains began to wobble. Temperatures dropped, not because winter arrived, but because the planet's heat budget suddenly changed. Imagine days that feel like late evening, even at noon. Plants struggle, then fail in patches, and hungry animals find fewer places to feed. In the oceans, reduced light can starve plankton, which ripples upward into larger life. The most chilling part is the timescale. You can survive a storm for a day. A dimmed world for months is a different kind of danger, because it forces every creature to spend down its reserves. Survival becomes a test of flexibility, stored energy, and sheer luck. Some dinosaurs survived as birds, adapting through the catastrophe. The dinosaur story does not end in silence. It changes into feathers, wings, and song. The lineages that made it through were not the biggest or the most armored. They were the ones whose bodies and habits matched a broken world. A smaller size can mean less food needed each day. A beak can handle varied diets, including seeds that can persist when green plants vanish. Flight can help animals escape local disasters and search for remaining pockets of resources. Nesting behavior and fast reproduction can help a population recover when numbers crash. These survivors carried dinosaur anatomy forward into the modern age, and they did it without our permission or our attention. The next time you hear a bird call at dawn, you are hearing an echo of deep time that endured the worst night the planet had to offer. That continuity is one of the most astonishing truths in natural history. Many lineages vanished, leaving empty niches for mammals to expand. When dominant animals disappear, the world does not stay empty for long. The extinction opened space in ecosystems, and mammals were ready to explore it. Before the catastrophe, many mammals were small, often living cautious lives. Afterward, opportunities widened. New food sources became available. New habitats were less dangerous, and roles that had been occupied for millions of years suddenly had no owners. Over time, mammals grew larger, diversified in form, and spread into landscapes that had been shaped for dinosaur bodies. That expansion was not instant. It was a slow unfolding, with many experiments that failed and some that succeeded brilliantly. Yet the overall direction is clear. The age of large land animals did not end. It changed hands. This is one of history's sharpest reminders that dominance is temporary, even when it feels permanent. The mammal world you live in is not the default state of Earth. It is a consequence of an opening, followed by a long, restless climb into new possibilities. Fossils show rapid ecosystem change in rocks laid just after the impact. In some places, the layers above the boundary look like a reset button in stone. Plant communities shift abruptly, and the kinds of leaves and pollen preserved in sediments change in a way that suggests sudden disruption. One famous signal is a brief surge of ferns, plants that can spread quickly over disturbed ground. That pattern fits a landscape recovering from widespread damage, where open space and ash-covered soils allow fast colonizers to dominate for a time. In rivers and lakes, sediments can record changes in erosion and runoff, as if the land itself was stripped and rearranged. Even the composition of tiny marine fossils can shift, reflecting stress in ocean food webs. These are not stories invented from imagination. They are patterns repeated across regions, recorded in layers you can hold and measure. It is rare to see a global turning point expressed so clearly in local rock, like the Earth leaving a note that says, "Something drastic happened here." Not every dinosaur died that day, but most died in the aftermath. Extinction is often pictured as a single dramatic moment, yet many deaths likely came later, as consequences piled up. In the days after the impact, fires and waves could devastate regions close to coasts and forests. Then the longer crisis arrived, with reduced plant growth and collapsing food supplies. A large herbivore needs vast amounts of vegetation, and when plants fail, starvation becomes a quiet predator. Predators face a different trap. Even if prey is abundant at first, it becomes scarce later, and competition intensifies. Disease and stress can rise when animals crowd around remaining water and food. The result is a drawn-out pressure that squeezes ecosystems from multiple sides. This framing makes the end of the dinosaur era feel more realistic and more unsettling. It was not a single door slamming shut. It was a long corridor narrowing, with fewer places to stand. The survivors were those who could tolerate the narrowing longest and change their habits when the old world stopped supplying what it once did. The fossil record is patchy, so new dinosaurs are still found yearly. Fossils feel like complete proof, yet they are only the rare pages that survived from an enormous book. Most animals decay, are scattered, or are destroyed by erosion, heat, and pressure long before they can become stone. Even when fossils form, they can remain hidden until uplift and weather expose them, which might take millions of years. That is why discoveries keep happening. A new road cut reveals a layer no one could reach before. A storm removes soil from a hillside and exposes bone. A careful re-examination of old collections uncovers a specimen that was misfiled decades ago. This patchiness also keeps dinosaur science exciting, because absence is not the same as non-existence. A region with few fossils might simply be a region with few exposed rocks of the right age. Each new discovery can fill a gap in time, connect distant continents, or reveal a body plan no one predicted. The story is still unfolding, not because we are careless, but because the archive itself is incomplete. Some dinosaurs are known from a single bone, yet still tell stories. It seems impossible that one fragment could matter, yet a single bone can carry diagnostic shapes that point to a family, a lifestyle, or a surprising size. A vertebra might show unique airspace patterns that suggest a particular kind of long-necked dinosaur. A jaw fragment might preserve tooth sockets that hint at a plant eater with unusual feeding habits. A limb bone can reveal proportions linked to running or weight-bearing. Scientists are careful with such material because a lone bone cannot reveal everything, and early excitement can lead to overconfident names. Still, these fragments are valuable. They can show that a lineage reached a place where it was not expected, or that a certain kind of dinosaur lived at a time where the record was thin. In a way, a single bone is like a distant signal on a dark sea. It does not map the whole shoreline, but it proves land is out there, and it invites further searching with sharper questions. Museums sometimes rename dinosaurs when better fossils reveal true identities. Names feel permanent, but in science, they are working labels tied to evidence. Early discoveries were sometimes based on partial remains, and later finds can show that a famous name covers more than one species, or that two different names actually refer to the same animal. When that happens, researchers compare features carefully, often returning to the original reference specimen, called the type. They ask whether differences are real or simply the result of age, individual variation, or distortion during fossilization. Renaming can sound like backtracking, yet it is closer to sharpening focus. It is how the field corrects itself. This process can also change museum displays and public understanding because a familiar label might shift or be retired. That can feel unsettling, but it is a sign of progress. The goal is not to keep names comfortable. The goal is to keep them honest. Every updated name is a reminder that dinosaurs are not only ancient. Our knowledge of them is alive, and it changes when the evidence becomes clearer. Computer models test dinosaur speed, posture, and movement with physics. A skeleton can be mounted in many poses, but physics can narrow what was truly possible. Modern researchers build digital bodies from scans, then add estimates of muscle placement based on living relatives like birds and crocodilians. They can simulate walking, turning, and running, then check whether the forces on joints and bones stay within realistic limits. This does not replace fossils. It uses fossils as the foundation, then asks what movements that foundation can support. It can challenge old assumptions, like whether a tail could lift, how a hip could flex, or how a heavy body could accelerate. The most exciting part is that models can be tested against trackways, because footprints provide real stride lengths and step patterns. When a simulation produces a gait that matches a track site, the past feels closer, like a bridge built between stone and motion. It is not guesswork dressed up as math. It is a disciplined way to ask, how would this animal actually move in the real world? Some dinosaurs may have had lips, changing how their teeth looked. If you imagine exposed teeth like a movie monster, some researchers now argue that picture may be misleading. In many living reptiles, teeth are covered when the mouth closes, and that coverage helps keep them from drying out and cracking. Certain dinosaur skulls show tooth wear patterns and jaw shapes that can be read as compatible with soft tissue covering the tooth row. This matters because lips change more than appearance. They change how a bite meets food, and they change how teeth are protected between meals. A lip-covered mouth can still be terrifying. It can open suddenly and reveal a full set of sharp tools, then close again into something less exaggerated. The debate is still active because soft tissue rarely fossilizes, so scientists must build the case from bone, wear, and comparison with living relatives. It is a reminder that even a familiar face like a predator's can still surprise us. Dinosaur metabolism is debated, but many show signs of active lives. Metabolism is the tempo of an animal's life, and dinosaurs may have played at more than one speed. Some evidence points toward growth that happened quickly, which can suggest higher energy demands. Other clues come from bone structure, from the way blood vessels once fed living tissue, and from how certain dinosaurs seem built for sustained movement. At the same time, dinosaurs were diverse, and it is unlikely one metabolic label fits them all. A small, feathered hunter might have needed more constant fuel than a giant plant eater that could conserve energy with slow routines. The debate stays lively because metabolism does not fossilize directly. It has to be inferred from multiple lines of evidence that each carry uncertainty. What feels clear is that many dinosaurs were not sluggish. Their bodies suggest readiness, endurance, and the ability to do a lot with the daylight they had. When you picture them, imagine animals that could be active on purpose, not only when startled. Feathers likely began for warmth or display before flight ever mattered. Flight makes feathers famous, but feathers may have started as something simpler and more everyday. A coat of filament like feathers can trap air close to the skin, which helps a small body stay warm through cool nights and changing seasons. Feathers can also act as signals. Even simple coverings can make an outline look larger, create contrast and draw attention during courtship or rivalry. Once a feathered surface exists, evolution can start shaping it for other uses. Longer structures can help with balance during fast turns. Broader veins can slow a leap or control a fall from a height. Over long time, those advantages can stack, and a feature that began as insulation becomes a tool for movement through air. This is one of the most exciting themes in natural history. A trait can begin with one job, then become the foundation for an entirely new way of living. Feathers did not need flight to be useful. Flight may have needed feathers to already exist. Some dinosaurs may have changed color with age, like many birds. In many living animals, youngsters and adults do not look the same, and color is often part of that change. Juveniles may be patterned for camouflage while they are small and vulnerable. Adults may shift toward bolder colors that help with courtship, dominance, or species recognition. If some dinosaurs followed a similar path, it would solve several puzzles at once. The baby could blend into leaf litter while it grows. An adult could use stronger signals once it can defend itself. This idea also warns us about classification. If a juvenile and an adult look different enough, scientists might once have mistaken them for separate species when fossils were scarce. Evidence for color change in dinosaurs is difficult because color is rarely preserved, and because growth stages can be hard to match without many specimens. Still, the possibility adds realism. It suggests dinosaur herds might have been visually varied, with different ages carrying different patterns, and with changes that marked life stages the way clothing marks seasons. T-Rex may have hunted, scavenged, or both, depending on opportunity. Nature rarely rewards purity. Many top predators today both hunt and scavenge, because a free meal is still a meal. A large predator with strong jaws and excellent senses would not ignore a carcass, especially when competition is fierce and energy demands are high. At the same time, its body was clearly capable of taking down prey, and its world included large animals that could become targets. The most realistic picture is flexibility. If prey is weak or caught in a bad position, hunting can pay off. If a carcass is found first, feeding quickly can beat rivals to the prize. This mixed strategy also changes the tone of the ecosystem. It means death could draw danger from far away, and it means a successful hunt might attract challengers that smell blood. Instead of asking whether it was a hunter or a scavenger, the better question is what it did on a given day. The answer could shift with weather, season, injury, and luck, which makes the animal feel more alive. Bone chemistry can reveal ancient migration through seasonal water signatures. As bones and teeth grow, they can lock in chemical signals from food and water. In some fossils, scientists measure isotopes that reflect the local water an animal drank, because rain and rivers carry regional signatures that can vary across landscapes. If a tooth records a changing signature from one growth band to the next, it can hint that the animal moved between regions while that tooth formed. This is especially powerful for animals that grew teeth over a long period, because the tooth becomes a timeline you can sample. The result is not a vague story about wandering. It can be a testable pattern of movement linked to geography and season. Migration would make sense for large animals that need constant resources, and it would also make sense in regions where wet and dry cycles shift where plants thrive. Chemical clues do not show the exact route, but they can show that the animal's life was not confined to one place. That opens the door to imagining ancient corridors, seasonal gatherings, and landscapes used like calendars. Fossil pollen and plants rebuild dinosaur habitats, like time travel for scientists. A dinosaur fossil tells you who was there. Fossil plants tell you what the world felt like. Pollen grains, leaf fragments, and pieces of wood can survive in sediments where bones are rare, and they can be identified to broad plant groups. That lets scientists reconstruct whether a region had dense forests, open plains, wetlands, or coastal vegetation. It can also hint at climate. Certain plant communities prefer certain temperatures and rainfall patterns, so plant fossils can act like environmental fingerprints. This matters because habitat shapes behavior. A hunter in a forest ambushes differently than one in open country. A herd in a wetland travels differently than one on dry ground. Plant evidence can even explain why fossils are found where they are, since floodplains and deltas preserve remains differently than uplands. When you combine animal and plant data, the scene gains depth. You do not only imagine a dinosaur, you imagine the shade under its trees, the texture of its ground, and the seasonal rhythms that guided its life. Dinosaur discoveries often come from ordinary cliffs, road cuts, and quarries. It is easy to picture discovery as a grand expedition into untouched wilderness, yet many major finds begin in the most everyday places. A road crew cuts into a hillside and reveals a layer that has not seen sunlight for millions of years. A quarry splits rock for construction and exposes bone surfaces that look like patterns at first glance. A coastal cliff erodes after storms, and fragments roll onto the beach like gifts that will be gone again with the next tide. These ordinary settings matter because they are constantly changing, and change is what reveals fossils. The thrill is that deep time is hiding in plain sight, under commutes and fences and footpaths. It also means discovery is sometimes a partnership between experts and chance observers. The careful eye can notice a texture, a curve, or a repeating pattern in stone, and that small moment can begin years of study. Dinosaurs are ancient, but the ways we meet them can be surprisingly modern and close to home. A single footprint can outlast empires, preserving a moment of motion. A footprint is a brief event. A foot presses down, mud gives way, and the animal moves on without knowing it left a record. For that record to survive, it needs a second miracle. The print must be filled or covered quickly, so it is protected from wind, rain, and later trampling. Over time, the sediment hardens into rock, and the print becomes a cast of motion. Then, erosion must expose it again, but not destroy it. If those steps align, the result can endure far longer than cities, languages, and borders. A footprint can preserve toe shape, claw angles, and weight shift, which means it can capture not just identity, but behavior. Was the animal walking? Was it turning? Was it accelerating? That makes a single print feel like a message from an individual, not a species. You can stand beside it and match your own stride to an ancient step. Then realize that the moment you share is separated by deep time, yet recorded with startling intimacy. Every new fossil reshapes the dinosaur story, and it is still unfolding. Dinosaurs are famous, but the picture we hold is not finished. New fossils can reveal body parts we never had for a species, which can change posture, size estimates, and relationships on the family tree. A new site can show a community rather than a lone skeleton, which can shift ideas about who lived together and how ecosystems were structured. Even a single well-preserved skull can revise what we thought an animal could see, smell, or eat. Science also improves its tools. Better scanning can reveal internal details without cutting bone, and better dating can place a fossil more precisely in time. This constant refinement is not indecision. It is the normal heartbeat of learning, where each discovery is tested against what came before. The result is a story that grows more detailed, more surprising, and more human, because it includes our changing understanding as part of the narrative. Dinosaurs are not only ancient history, they are an active investigation, and the next turning point could be waiting in rock that has not yet been split open. For a little while, we have walked across deep time together. We have stood beneath towering giants whose footsteps once trembled through ancient forests. We have traced the curve of claws, the sweep of crests, and the quiet geometry of nests pressed into old earth. We have followed herds across floodplains, listened for distant calls carried over inland seas, and watched feathers catch the light long before birds filled our skies. We have seen continents drift, climates shift, and whole ecosystems rise and fall. We have felt the shock of an impact that changed everything, and we have noticed the small survivors who carried the story forward in wings and song. From a single footprint to a vast crater hidden beneath the sea, the dinosaur world has revealed itself not as a myth, but as a real and intricate chapter of our planet's memory. Now, let that vastness settle. Picture the land growing still. The herds have passed. The rivers move softly through their channels. The sky stretches wide above a quiet plain. Let your breathing slow to match that ancient rhythm. Inhale. Exhale. There is no rush here. Only time, stretching gently in every direction. If you enjoyed this journey through the age of dinosaurs, I would love for you to like, subscribe, or share your thoughts below. And if you happen to still be awake, another adventure is waiting for you on the screen. You are always welcome to wander a little further. But for now, allow your mind to drift back into the present, carrying only a sense of wonder. Sleep well, and good night.